When recording Minecraft The Journey, I use a combination of both single player and multiplayer modes depending on what I need to do or whether I need camera angles and that sort of thing. And in Beta 1.9 pre-release, I've been suffering from one particular bug which the game has had for a little while, which is causing me constant hassles. And that is that the game will fill up with thousands and thousands of mobs. Let's just log in. I'm currently running this in multiplayer and we should be able to see exactly what's happening. The world is attempting to load right now because around me, you might be able to see them loading in now. There we go. There we go. How many mobs was that? Whoa, hi. Okay, yes. This is obviously a problem and this will just cause my world to crash. In fact, I can barely even move anymore. The quickest fix to this is to use single player and switch the game mode from hard mode to peaceful mode, and that'll get rid of all of the offending mobs. But obviously, this is an annoying problem. Hello up there. Hello. Hi everybody, welcome back to Minecraft The Journey with me, BugmanCX. I've just been running around the base doing a little bit of touching up here and there and just making this whole place feel that little bit more lived in and a little bit more polished. In the last episode, we discovered a whole bunch of new stuff about the Nether, and today I want to head back there and start figuring out a farm for the Blaze. But before we do, let's go and look at one of the changes that I've made here at the ravine. And it's down here at the void hole where I've been working. Since we discovered the nether fortress in the last episode, I thought we would take back some of this nether brick and nether brick fences and use it down here to hold back the lava. Previously, I just had a big wall of glass and it was pretty bland and I wasn't very happy with it, but this kind of gives it a really cool effect. Because the lava is slightly disguised by these nether brick fences, you can see the lava moving in there behind, and I think it just looks really, really awesome. So I've also extended the lava out here a little bit to give it a much more clean effect. And if you walk around the sides here, you can also see the void fog gives it a little bit of an atmospheric touch, and I'm not sure how good or bad that is, but that's just Minecraft for you at the moment. The glass walkway still remains, but right now it's got this trim around the edge, and I just think this looks so much better. Unfortunately, we can't build anything over this side. I'm not even sure what we would at the moment, but even if we did, unfortunately, this is part of the mystery chunk, where anytime that I make changes to this chunk and then reload the game, these changes get reset. The chunk is kind of fixed in time and can never be changed. So luckily it didn't intrude onto the void hole area too much, but right now that's an anomaly. Over here as well, I've opened up the space down here a little bit more so that things are a bit more accessible. Oh, hi. Hello. Just, visitors. I've made this staircase here so that it's a bit easier to get down from the bottom layers up to the top layers here. Because as I've experienced in the past, when you're up at these sections, it's a little bit tricky to get down to the bottom. You've kind of got to run all the way down to the other end of the ravine and then go down that staircase here, because the ravine is just full of these weird staircases going in all sorts of different directions. I want things to be confusing but still accessible, and I think we're pulling that off slowly but surely. All right, let's get out of this ravine and head into the Nether. Oh yeah. For the time being, I've created this little temporary nether wart farm. Nothing too exciting, but I've had to create it here in the nether because the nether is the only dimension in which the nether wart will actually grow. So hopefully in the future, we'll be able to have a bigger and better farm, but for right now, this is just here to help me casually grow up some extra nether wart for my supplies, just in case we need it in the future. Right, onto the Blaze farm. Now the blaze spawner we're going to use is just over here. This is the same blaze spawner that I visited in the last episode. So job number 1 is to pacify the blaze spawner, and right now the best way that I know how to do that is to go straight on in and before any blaze can spawn is to cover it in lava, and I think I've made a right mess of that already because the lava's just gonna all fall out into that section below. That was pretty poorly planned, but at least no more will spawn, and I'll be able to get in there and try and pacify it properly. Plenty of torches and a few embarrassing deaths later. Now, why did you spawn there? There should be so much light in this area. I don't know why a blaze would have spawned right here. The torches give off a light level of 14, I believe, and blazes require level 11 or lower in order to spawn. So maybe it's the air level up here. I'm not sure yet, but what we're going to do anyway is we're going to enclose this area. So I've got some more nether brick fence here, nether brick here, and we're just going to slowly enclose this area here around the spawner. This is going to be quite a compact little area for the blaze to spawn, and what we're going to do is we're going to use pistons to crush them to death, and then the little blaze rods will drop out and we'll collect them. Not that we have very much to do with the blaze rods yet, but all in good time, all in good time. I think another one just spawned here. Yeah, we've still got some spawning problems, but we'll deal with that after we've got the main farm dealt with. Yep, get out of here. Thank you. Oh. I'm a little home away from home. I've enclosed myself here completely, so no blaze should be able to get to me, although they are still spawning outside around me, but we'll deal with all of that later. For now, I'm going to build the crusher, and the crusher design that I'm going to use is based on a little YouTuber known as Etho, who back in the day of Minecraft Beta 1.9 pre-release days was doing this Let's Play series and showed us exactly how to build a crusher that'll kill the blaze and give us all of those blaze rods. Even though blaze rods don't even do anything yet, but that's not the point, is it? So in order to build this farm, what we're going to do is set up some things. We need to put a block here, and this is where the main crushing is going to take place. I need to get myself a pressure plate and plonk it down right there. In between here and the spawner, we need a couple of things. We need some redstone to go there. We also need a redstone repeater to go into the spawner, and then some more redstone dust on top. We've got a sticky piston here, and the sticky piston is going to be pushing blocks into this area here in order to activate the crusher, and that's going to go... No, actually, we need a block right here, and then the sticky piston goes on top of that block right there. So what we can do now is just place some blocks here and here, and then when blaze spawn right here, this block should activate and push them into... well, a killing area. You'll see in a moment. So let's clear up this space here. Hopefully no blaze spawn. We definitely don't want that. I'm getting pretty tired of those things spawning. I can barely see what I'm doing here either, but, you know, that's part of the charm of using nether brick in the nether. And after having to run to the overworld to find some sand for some extra glass, we can place a glass pane here and here, and let's just wait and see how long it is before we get our very first guest. Come on, Blazies! That was your cue, Blaze. You were supposed to spawn right then, at that point. You're letting your side down. Come on, Blaze. I'm ready for you now. You've been spawning like mad. Now you're letting me down. Ah, thank you, Blaze. Right, Blaze? Ready, Blaze? Ready, set, go! No Blaze. Come on, Blaze. 3, 2, 1. Blaze. Blaze. Where's the Blaze? And action. Blaze spawn. Cue the Blaze spawning. Now. Action. Blaze spawn. Go. Yes. Yes, we have our first contender. There you are, Blaze. And finally, we should see if this thing will drop any blaze rods. I don't know how long it takes to crush them, but not too long, and there's our first drop, a blaze rod. Hopefully we can just stay here now and collect gazillions of these things and get our stocks all ready for whenever we use these for whatever they're for. I've been hanging out here for a little while, and this farm is slow, but at least you don't have to interact with it. You can just stand here by the glass and collect blaze rods like that, and just like that I have 2 stacks of them now. I have no idea what I'm going to do with these things, but for right now, I'm going to take them home and store them until we figure out what they're good for. Now I'm still down here in the depths of the nether because I want to build another farm today, and that's going to be a gold nugget farm. And these can be done over the lava lake, so we're going to use my trusty cameraman, off you go, to explore this part of the nether. Let's have a bit of a look around. What we can see around us here is a large area of kind of open lake. Now, ideally, what we would want to do is build a farm somewhere here as low as possible, and then have a distance of about 140 something blocks away from the farm in each direction in order to prevent pigman spawns anywhere else but where the farm is. Unfortunately, all of these areas are pretty much in range here, but this is the closest, largest open lava lake that we have without having to go to other parts of the Nether yet unexplored. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted it to be somewhere relatively close by so that we can just camp out here and farm pigman drops. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bridge out here to the middle of this lava lake and start building a brand new old school farm. What we have out here is only a partially completed farm. Oh no, not another ghast. They are very annoying. We just have a partially completed farm out here because I just want to make sure that it works. Oh dear. Oh dear. Let me just see if I can deal with this first. No, don't blow up my resources, please. Please, ghast, please. No. Well, the problem is partially eradicated, but that one seems to be out of range for now. What I was hoping to see was a stream of pigmen just falling down onto this platform here, but it does look like perhaps the mob cap is taken up by all of these surrounding areas, and I knew this would be a problem. I can see them here and so on. And if I just back away from this area, maybe we'll see some drop down. I don't want to fall into the lava here. No, but there are only a handful of spawning spaces up there. Uh-oh. Oh. Oh, what a shot. Unbelievable. Well, before we were so rudely interrupted, I think it must be a spawning issue because just look how many possible spawning spaces there are around here. Pigmen are all spawning on the outskirts of the lava lake while I'm stood here in the middle, and I think it must have something to do with the way that the game tries to find a location for the pigmen to spawn. So clearly, the biggest problem areas if I want to make this farm any way efficient is this area over here, all up here, all down here, and this entire island over here and over there. So maybe I didn't choose the best location for this farm, but you know, right now it's really difficult to farm pigmen in the Nether in these versions because even if we break through to the Nether ceiling, there's no way to place blocks above layer 128. So we're just stuck down here working in the Nether regions. An unintentional pun. So I'm going to think on this and see how we can make it more efficient. Another one. All right, well, I've been hanging around on this cliff top for a little while now, hoping to just see a pigman spawn up on one of these spawning platforms and then get pushed off and drop. Whoa, ooh, I could have fallen through that. Drop down onto the killing platform below, but unfortunately, just nothing. The spawning around here is the biggest problem, I think. So I think my options are, 1, carve back all of this netherrack and just get rid of it. That's a lot of work. 2, cover this entire space in lava because lava will prevent the pigmen from spawning. Or 3, slab the entire region. And I don't like any of these options, to be honest. So I might have to rethink this entire farm or maybe even find a different location for it. I'd be keen to know what you all think about this to see if you've got any better suggestions. Well, we've had one successful farm today and one slightly disappointing, unsuccessful, completely not working really well farm, but I'm sure we'll work it out. How you doing, villagers? Good to be home, good to be back in the ravine base. I've been stuck in the nether for about 2 episodes and I'm getting pretty sick of that place. So while we're still here in beta 1.9, there are a lot of big changes we're still yet to uncover and some small ones too. So before we wrap up today's episode, why don't we go outside, get some fresh air and go and have a look at one of those smaller changes. Isn't that a glorious Minecraft view made up of rendering glitches and flashy blue ocean? I'm out here because I'm looking for a swamp and I think I've found it. This is a swamp island that exists on that little archipelago of islands in between the desert village and the new mushroom island. So I thought I would come back here and see if we can have a look at the new lily pad, which is part of new swamp generation. And since this is a fresh biome, it should have them. I don't see any yet, but let's park up. Oh, there's one. Let's park up and have a little bit of a look. Let's find a better spot, actually. Let's park up and have a little bit of a look and see what we can find. Well, this is an interesting little swamp, actually, because there's not very much land. Most of it is made up of this swampy water out here. And as we can see right in front of us, we do have some lily pads. So let's start doing some experiments, shall we? The first thing I want to see is whether we can walk on a lily pad. So, no. Looks like we can't walk on a lily pad, which is really disappointing because that would make for a fun little obstacle course or something across the water. Second experiment, we need to see if we can collect them because hopefully we can, right? And yes, we can. Have a look at that though. It's monochrome in color, and we've seen this before with grass blocks and leaf blocks. They're monochrome in color as their base texture, and then a color tint is applied depending on which biome they're in. Well, we've collected a lily pad. Can we place down a lily pad on the water's surface? I'm right-clicking and nothing is happening. And I have a feeling that this is just a quirk of Minecraft Beta 1.9 and that what I actually need to do is place the lily pad up against a solid block like this. No, that doesn't work either. Maybe if it's up here? I'm interacting with the crafting bench. Let's just put down one of these and see if we can do it again. Yes, okay, so in order to place a lily pad, it needs to be up against a block on the same level as the lily pad. I guess that's because, as you can see, the hitbox here is actually adjacent to this block here, not the block down there at the water's level. So that's quite annoying because if you want to place some lily pads out in the middle of the water here, you would have to come out, place down some blocks like that, pick up a lily pad like this, and then place it down against that block there, and then get rid of these blocks here. That's a lot of work just for a lily pad. Well, let's see what happens when we're in a boat. Can we pass over the lily pad, or do we break it, or what happens? We go right through the lily pad, which is actually kind of good, I suppose. If you were in a real boat and you went over a lily pad, it would sink into the water a little bit, but then just float back up to the water's surface. And in a way, it's kind of disappointing that that doesn't happen, but I understand the limitations of Minecraft mechanics, and, well, this is better than actually breaking it every time you smash into one with your boat, like in modern versions. And yes, we can definitely see the lily pad from underneath. I'm just curious if we can break it from below. We can. Whoa, I don't want to drown. Good to be back home again, and there was one last experiment that I wanted to try, and I found this one to be pretty interesting. I've set up a couple of little experiments here. First is, I want to know what happens if you just take away the water source block. We just get our drop back. Okay, that's fair enough. That's kind of what I expected. But then here's something that I discovered, which I found really interesting. You can place a lily pad like this, as long as this block here is in a swamp biome. Right here, this is mountains, I think. Right-clicking, and I cannot place a lily pad right here in this biome. It's particularly weird, right? It works just fine here, but anywhere else just does not work. I don't know why it's programmed like this, but for the time being, these lily pads are only placeable in swampland. And just one other curiosity, the lily pad currently has no tooltip name, just like the gold nugget. Both of these were introduced in beta 1.9. So what can we put this down to? Forgetful developers? Probably. Well, as you can see, I'm shedding a tear because one of our farms today did not work, but you know what? It's not the end of the world. It's always a learning process here on Minecraft The Journey. That brings us to the end of today's episode. So I want to say thank you to you for watching, and if you enjoyed today's episode, feel free to subscribe, like, leave a comment, all of those things. Or if you want to support me, you can do that by checking the links down below. There are links to my Discord and my Patreon. And speaking of Patreon, thank you to all of my amazing patrons for supporting me. It means so much. You have no idea. But until the next episode, this has been BugmanCX. You've been watching Minecraft The Journey. There's a creeper over there, isn't there?